the only Star Trek Online podcast that I know of right now that is currently in operation that does stuff regarding the Star Trek Online Foundry. I am a host, Duncan Idaho, and here to introduce our cast of merry characters. Starting off with our security officer, Chorog.
I protest, I am not a merry man.
And we've got Daniel, our man out of time. We've got Daniel.
Hi, I'm on my phone tonight, and still getting used to swapping between Discord and other things.
Yeah! We've got our currently acting captain and chief medical officer and first officer, Eli O'Connor.
That's me.
You've got our multi-faith chaplain, Waitley, played by Grumpy Old Nord.
So we have Chaplain Waitley, we have Bartender Grimnir, although now he's a security officer, and a security officer Mary. I gave her a last name, but I can't remember what it was.
Wasn't it?
Shepherd,
yes, Mary Shepherd.
Yes, she was the chief.
She will wind up being more important than you will ever realize.
And we've got our con officer, Karjun Ronnie.
Marcus Graves gets Borg implants. Why does he get Borg implants? I want Borg implants.
And we got our chief engineer, Rick Tier.
I make things go.
And we've got myself, Duncan Idaho, playing Captain Marcus Graves, Lieutenant Tardigrade, and various other characters this episode. We start off with the USS Reliant flying majestically around Starbase Magellan. Magellan is taking greater shape, there are more ships about, and there's also a Ferengi station in pretty good shape nearby the station. The Archer system is becoming a pretty decent hub for exploration of this sector. And that's resulted in some pretty substantial efforts by Starfleet a burgeoning alliance of the KDF Romulan Republic and Starfleet to, jointly explore a region of space. We cut to the bridge of the USS Reliant with Dr. O'Connor sitting in the captain's chair. It's pretty early in the morning, pretty chipper, not a whole lot going on right now, kind of expecting a new exploration assignment. And what is Eli doing at this time?
Breakfast.
What breakfast are you having?
Hash browns and bacon. And a waffle.
Smell is pretty intoxicating across the bridge, and other officers, including John T. Tardigrade, have broken out the breakfast as well. He is currently eating a set of pancakes, very delicately, trying to carve something as he goes down the stack.
I want to say that Mary is on the bridge, but she's not eating. But she does lean over to whoever's at the helm and says, "Do another turn. It looks so pretty."
Ensign Moon is like, okay. It just keeps flying the ship in circles.
Majestic circles. And stepping onto the bridge is Captain Marcus Graves. Now, Marcus Graves, back in his Starfleet uniform and having three pips. Three pips, that's right, three. With the rank of commander.
There you go.
I remember things.
Oh, hey! What she got there?
I got a uniform and a clean, commission? I don't want to call it a bill of health, but yeah, Starfleet's clear to be back for duty.
Oh.
I love that.
That's such a good you can just see the scene hold for a moment where Eli's just like, I don't want to give up the chair.
We have Waitley walk on the bridge at that point and just look at Eli and go, really?
Graves says chipperly, I'm just going to head over to the ready room for a little bit. So, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I've got a call waiting for me from Captain Mercer, but yeah, great job, and hopefully we'll be heading out here quite soon.
Right, and by the way, the O was because nobody informed, the actual doctor.
Yeah, this was like 5 minutes ago, so I just came up here to inform you. I think, you're technically the first to know.
All right.
That begs a question that I should have asked earlier. How has Eli been treating Waitley? Because Waitley is technically the second officer, So did he become the first officer during this, or how did Eli treat that?
Treated it pretty okay. It's all fine.
Ship business, yeah, just pretty standard. Managing those crew assignments, getting those duty officer missions done.
Okay. So basically, everything ran the way it always ran, and Wheatley did what Wheatley always does. Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to know. Sorry for intruding on that.
No worries. Yeah, we didn't do any major drama there. So, we got up to some other antics. So, Graves heads over to the ready room to notify the crew that he's back, and there's a brief little moment here where the crew can kind of react and get onto some other scenes before Graves kind of comes back for their next mission.
There's a bosun's whistle drawing Graves' attention to the ready room door.
Graves says, "Come in."
Kara steps in and salutes. Sir, I just finished an assignment for Captain Mercer. He said that I should also inform you of the information I was able to glean.
All right, what do you got?
Kara moves over and sits down at the desk and slides a datapad across to him. I've been questioning Captain Renta. She says that with the long-suffering air of someone who's had to deal with an idiot who has risen well above his station. And more importantly, I've accessed various data from the information systems of the Prime variants. I'm getting a better idea now of what's going on in the Delta Quadrant. It does seem like there's been some strange new, I want to say, power of some sort in the Delta Quadrant. Some new nation state of some sort. We have reports here of various different groups having been attacked in small skirmishes. It doesn't look like anything major so far. It almost looks like what one would call weapons testing. Like the belligerent group is trying to see how well they stack up against everyone else. They've hit everyone, collective, cooperative, the hierarchy. I think that what it sounds like, though, what might be concerning is they have hit the Crenum Imperium. And what I heard is that the Crenum were able to get out a distress call to their allies, the Zal, and then since then, nobody's heard anything from the Imperium or the Zal.
All right. Well, that's going to be a lot for Starfleet to process, but let's go ahead, pass this information on. Any signs that this threat is potentially extragalactic?
Unknown, sir. Most of what I have is communication logs detailing wreckage found and weapon signatures.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's just pass this on right now. I don't think we can really do too much more at this point. But if there's anything coming in from like this corner of the galaxy as well, it'd be pretty bad if it was related. But at the same time, it's something that we will again just keep an eye on.
Acknowledged, sir. I would state that caution is probably the watchword of the day. Anyone who can hand the collective or the Voth their collective ass deserves respect.
All right. Is that all?
No, sir. That was all the information I was able to gain from the Prime Variance computers.
All right. Excellent work. I'll get to passing this on, and I've got a call here with Captain Mercer in just a moment, so I'll probably get on the horn in just a moment, and we should be heading out soon.
Well, be sure to tell him I already briefed you, or he's likely to do so again. She stands up and salutes and heads out.
Graves salutes as well.
Graves gets a little beep from his communicator. Rick to Captain Graves.
Graves taps his communicator. Captain Graves here.
You can hear some sort of cheering sort of things in the background. Something's going on in engineering as Rick here talks. Just want to say welcome back, Captain. Good to have you back.
Thanks.
That's it. Bye. And I think the communicator tab closes down, and for a brief moment we zoom down to engineering as there's a brief example as there's little maybe 4 little wheel drones that are sort of running through a racetrack. late through engineering as there's cheers and barracking for one little drone over the other.
So this is basically Baz or Rick Tier trying to butter up to Graves. Like, hey, glad you're back. Never mind what we're doing right now. It's just doing a little bit of team building here. Yes.
Flex time.
Hey, it's not like the Reliance
Oh.
doing anything.
Buffer time.
Yeah. So with that, Graves sort of gets back on. Like Graves has his meeting with Captain Mercer. Gets on the horn and says, "All right, crew, we got a little bit of a situation here, or at least the Alliance or Starfleet does."
Real quick, Graves. And if I need to make a roll for this for Whately, I will. But at one point, Graves suddenly hears a flash in his head. Kill him.
Captain Mercer?
Yes.
He's the Mr. Rogers of Starfleet. Yeah, Graves just sort of shakes his head at that and says, "All right, we got a little bit of a situation here. A Starfleet research base on the planet Uchagra, which is just to the galactic east of us. It's been attacked. Unknown force. Fortunately, few, or more precisely, one casualty from the research team that was stationed on the planet. Rescued by the USS Arcana. We're going to be collaborating with the USS Toledo to investigate the situation out that way and try to determine if we've got a larger threat or security situation, or hopefully something that we can resolve that way. So we're going to get underway here in just a moment once we form up with the Toledo and head with maximum warp over to the Chakra system. Probably good to go to yellow alert once we have warped and just kind of be prepared to handle a difficult situation once we arrive. Any questions can be sent over to your departmental supervisors, and they can submit questions to me. That, glad to be back in the command, and get out there shortly. There's out.
There's a bit of activity as in engineering as the races stop and everyone tries to square things away as business suddenly has turned up.
Everything's a bit of a bustle on the USS Reliant as we prepare to get to work. We form up with the is it an Aventine? Yeah, it's an Aventine class. I want to get this right. It's an Aventine, the Aventine class USS Toledo. The Captain Kofak coordinates with Captain Graves, and they form a small little plan of action for how to enter the system. Graves assembles everyone at the ready room and conveys the plan, which more or less consists of both ships warp out together and bugger out if things get real bad.
The Shepherd kind of chuckles at that, but doesn't say anything else.
Larissa just kind of looks over with a smirk and says, "Shall I just arm the torpedoes now, sir?"
Having some armed would probably be a good idea.
Kara, meanwhile, is punched in the course, and she's like, maximum warp. God, we're always in such a hurry.
So, any other questions or comments for Captain Graves before we head out?
Grimnir walks in wearing his new, very unfitting Starfleet uniform. He's got the security yellow and the what would his rank be? Because he's not officially commissioned, but he's commissioned. So would it be like the Maquis style? Or would it just be an ensign?
I'd give him chief.
Oh, chief. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I like that. All right. So he's got the chief petty officer insignia on his neck. He walks in and he's still adjusting to it, you know. He's like, damn, why do they gotta make these things so tight? Captain, I've been told that you needed a ground team.
Yeah, we'll probably need a ground team. If things are clear, we're gonna try to recover what we can for the devastated base and check on with the locals.
Locals? Hey. Alright. Well, let me know what you need me to do. I've got a team that's ready to go.
Alright, awesome. I might put you in charge of the locals because their culture is a little bit unusual from the humanoid standard. So someone who's good at getting along with people, good at surfacing what they need, that could be particularly handy for them.
He quirks an eyebrow and says, "What do you mean unusual?"
The Uchagra system is populated by the, Uchagrans, and they've got a pre-regimented caste system where they've got individuals who are bred for a particular role, but at the same time they're able to flip around between those as they gain or lose status. But this has resulted in those pretty, structured society that's kind of been doing its thing for a few millennia, it seems. So, styles of language, styles of communication, styles, all over. It just is a bit usual, but they are pretty amenable once someone kind of is trying to speak to their level, and they're pretty accommodating about outsiders.
Grimner nods, looks at, who else is in the room?
It's the entire senior staff.
Okay. So he looks at Dr. O'Connor and is like, "That makes sense to you, right?" Okay.
Perfect sense. Yep.
I have
Eli
no
says from
idea.
the first officer's chair with the breakfast still in his hand.
Grimner mumbles under his breath, "I have no idea what any of that means." But he nods and he says, "All right, you can do it, Captain. Just point us in the direction and we'll do it."
Awesome. So, is there any other questions?
Do you guys hear something coming from the vents?
I think that's the bees. I told them to shush, but they don't like to listen.
Whatever it is, I'm sure it's Checker's fault.
Which one?
Yes.
Right.
All right. Well, let's get to it.
Kara heads back out to the bridge.
The camera pans to the USS Reliant and USS Toledo warping together towards the Uchagra system. As the ships come out of warp, not quite M-class planet comes into view. It's it's got a pretty spectacular ring system as well as a single moon, but it also has a lot of glaciation across the surface, and what greenery that one can see looks pretty scrubby at that. A lot of brown kind of mixed in there as well. Apparently, though, the Uchagrans are still surviving on that planet, and the Reliant and the Toledo now have to scan the system to see what else is out there.
Kara at this point has wandered over to the science station next to Setsa and is looking at the scans. Huh. Cold down there. I like it.
Yes, quite cold, so everyone, prepare their best hats for, the cold weather. Be sure they're comfy, because comfy hats make for good exploring.
Kara just chuckles and shakes her head and moves to give the planet a nice, good biological scan.
Life forms, do. Give me a roll with insight science, do. I'm making Kara do this.
I'm waiting for someone to do the song, but the way you just did that was perfect.
One success.
So you're able to detect that that the planet is undergoing a bit of a period of ecological adjustment. It appears that a supernova sometime back from a local star system created a little bit of shift in the atmosphere as well as the planetary ecosystem. It's holding on just fine, recovering pretty well, but it's been pretty cold down there for a good long while, probably most of Uchagra civilization. So, population doesn't seem to be under any threat. There's no signs of obvious, bombardment on the planet. Although you're not able to quite pin down what happened around this side of the research base that you have coordinates for. There is a settlement nearby that's pretty hefty.
So I want to interject real quick right here. As Graves is monitoring the situation and explaining everything to everybody, he and I will roll for this if you want me to. He suddenly has a flash in his brain. Kill the ball.
I will definitely make you roll for that one.
Okay.
I'll also say that upon getting the scanning results, Kara suddenly curses very loudly at Ibby and looks annoyed.
Okay, so the for the roll,
Grimnir,
it's going to be.
We've changed how the rolls work, so I don't know how the bot works now.
Okay, so I'll explain that, but let's go with this as a command presence roll. So what you do is, I like to do just /R like there's a couple of new functions. So with the slash-based system, you can go D20, and then
Okay.
you can get a kind of a drop-down menu where you've just got a target. Then if you hit space, you get a target, but then you got a bunch of options. What I like, and this is something implemented because I asked him to, because this is the bot had to get revamped when Discord did their bot revamp. /R, and then you just get a list of parameters: target, dice, difficulty, crit, and comp, and you go through the sequence. So target number, whatever, dice 2, difficulty 1, crit,
Okay.
focus applies, and complication range 16 here. I'm spending 4 threat.
Oh, okay.
I want the complication here.
You want Whately to fuck up.
Yes,
All right.
I want Whately to fuck up. I've got something for Whately if he fucks up.
He accidentally sends the message, kiss them all.
Yeah, and when you're doing this /R and typing in the parameters, it lists the list in the description up top.
This is off topic, but has anyone ever had a rubber band melt?
And what
Yes.
What did you say? The so I've got the skill
Target.
rating, the target number, and I've got the D20, and then what was the thing after that?
So you're just typing the numbers. So for example, I'm just going to type in like in parentheses here, so it doesn't count.
14
R, and then my
D20.
target.
That's
And let's say, so that would be your roll. That's what you would type in. So 14, 2 for the target, or the number of dice, 1 for your difficulty, you never play with that, and then 1 for your, I just said 1 for focus, probably 4 or 5, then 16 for crit. So that's the R, so, and it's just a space between, so you just type in R,
Whately would
14.
definitely have a focus for this because of his psychology. He's trying to get into the captain's head. So how would that play into this?
Well, you would just increase your critical range. So it would just be instead of 1 before the 16, you do, say, a 4 or 5, depending on what your corresponding discipline skill is. Command.
His command is... I gotta open the character sheet. I thought I had this memorized, but apparently I don't.
Okay. Let me look. I've got it there. So your command is 4. So your roll is 14, 2, 1, 4, 16. You have the hang of it, but yeah, again, you when you're typing this out and you putting it in the parameters box, it also tells you the order.
Yeah, it's not doing a very good job of that on my end. That or I'm missing something.
So yeah, something like that.
Alright.
So I just rolled. I want to go with my roll.
And actually, that would be 4 successes because he got the complication ranges 4, not the critical range.
Oh, yeah. Damn
Did I do it wrong?
No, you're well. It's fine. We got the results we needed, so we're good.
Yeah. So
but the important thing is, I wanted to correct him if this wasn't just a success. This is literally the best success that Whately could have gotten.
The thing is,
you
really
wanted Whately to fail.
Yeah, the thing is, like, it doesn't, like, Graves going berserk here would really mess up the story.
And here's the thing. He's not trying to make Graves go berserk. He's just trying to put an idea in his head. You should kill them all.
Right. Okay, so Graves hears that clearly, and is sort of freaked out by it. And it sort of just rubs the back of his neck. So he gets the message very, very clearly, which is a little weird.
You should kill them all.
Okay, well, that's a bit weird. I'll have to talk with the doctor about that sometime.
Speaking of the doctor, can I do an empath roll to see how he feels?
Go for it.
Woo! What am I rolling?
You're going for an insight, either an insight medicine or an insight command roll. Give you those options.
Those are both the same, so...
Hey! Also, Nord, if you want to just sort of skip all the sort of the additional numbers, just type R and then go your target number and just interpret the results from the roll manually.
Okay.
But yeah, it's only if you wanted to like automatically say how many like to do all of the other computations. It's just, but you can just do the raw roll. So Eli gets also I'd say a focus applies as well. So he's got 3 successes. So he feels. He does the feelies.
I do indeed do the feelies. What do I feel?
So are you doing the empathic roll on Graves?
Yes.
You feel that he's weirded out for some reason, and it's not to do with the mission. Like, something just flipped out. Maybe with the implant? Maybe something else.
Captain, are you alright?
We'll talk about it later. Just, we should focus on what's happening with Uchagra.
Kill them all.
I should also point out that while this has all been a very short period of time, Kara has also let out an extremely loud expletive, and nobody has asked why yet.
Setsa asks why.
We got here just after the climate change. We just missed the Great Dying. Could you imagine if we'd been here for that? Such science.
Mary says, "Oh, that would have been so cool."
Oh,
Hey, should I? You know what? Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. We would have had a clear line to evolutionary pressures. That would have been so amazing.
Setsa raises a hand.
Kara face palms and says, yes.
Should we scan for ships?
Oh, yeah, probably. Sorry. I'm a biologist, yeah.
So, I'll have Larissa scan for ships. Huge successes. Larissa relays to the rest of the bridge. Well, I'm scanning what looks like to be a lot of planetary debris. They have rusty station, rusty ship, derelict ship, rusty station, derelict ship, space garbage. Pretty cluttered system out there, but I'm not detecting too many active power readings, just a few Warp 3 transports.
Space junk. Whoa. Kara goes and sits back down at the con station.
Graves strokes his chin and says, well, at least it doesn't look like there's an active hostile presence here, unless something's hiding around. So let's stay on yellow alert and get into communications range with the Uchagan settlement that was nearest the research base. Comms range are relatively short, so we'll need to get within a few 100,000 kilometers.
Yeah, no problem. Is it possible a piece of space junk fell on him? Like a whole ass ship or satellite or something?
No. The teams report plasma bombardment, and that's what the USS Arcana was able to detect, but it wasn't able to get a read on the aggressor vessel. It did a long-range beam out of the crew.
Oh boy, plasma weaponry. That really narrows it down.
Yeah. So, alright, let's get this in a little bit closer. I'll relay the information over to Captain Kopak.
Got it, sir. We're within telephone range.
Graves hails the planet, sort of stands up, does the Picard maneuver, and it takes a few moments, but then a comm line breaks in, and I'm going to stall for time here, and a rather, grumpy-looking alien with very wrinkled skin appears on the comm range. The memorandum seems to be, a little bit of disarray, and...
Grimnir perks up and says, "Grumpy?"
They're all somewhat grumpy. And the alien in question pops up on the view screen and just says, Oi! Come you with more space buds? We greet you kindly. So unfortunate that disaster befell, but what can the great space buds do but craw at once in a while? Great boons, summertime. Hello! Graves blinks. You all right down there? Alien nods. Yes, thank you kindly. We are most good, most excellent. Like little blooms bursting forth from delicate snow. Much hiding, but when disaster did not befall us, although I am pained to hear the loss of Captain Gava of the ever so magnificent settlement that you constructed near ours. Will you be providing the same assistance you once did? Graves shrugs and says, well, we established a presence here. We can determine if it's safe, but first we need to understand what's going on. No one's tried to contact you after the attack? The alien shrugs and says, not that we could determine, but my techs are very, remiss at telling me the details, so perhaps you could come down, browse our wares, and... He just sort of leaves the question open. Graves sort of sighs and says, all right, I'll send out an away team. We're going to do so anyway. And
in the middle of that, Graves hears in his head, "Kill them all."
Graves just sort of slaps the side of his head. Says, all right, yeah, I'll send a team down right away. And we'll also send a team down to the Lunar base. If anything unusual happens. Let us know straight away. No.
Why hitting yourself?
All right. So at that, the leader nods, closes the channel, and Graves turns around and says, "All right."
Kara immediately pipes up. Did he just invite us to go down for shopping after one of our bases just got nuked from orbit?
Yes.
Mary and Grimnir are both just like, yep, I'm pretty sure that's just what just happened.
Are you sure we couldn't be, like, going to help the Bobans or something?
Right now, we need to take care of this. All right. Let's see. So...
Well, I volunteer for the investigation. I don't want to have to go be nice to these people.
Same.
All right. Doctor, Kara, and Ritier.
Grimnir raises his hand. I want to be nice to these people.
Just a moment. Kara, Eli, Rick, you are investigating the settlement. Take any additional security personnel that you see fit. Grimnir, you're leading the away team, and I'll assign you Chorog and Daniel as well. You're leading the away team to check in with the Uchagrans.
Uchagrans.
Yep, the Uchagrans. So, that's the first speaker that contacted us. Yeah, so I want you to figure out if they're hiding anything. It seems pretty unusual that a base would just get attacked, and they wouldn't be particularly fazed by that. So
Mary raises her hand, says, sir, not to interject, but may I accompany the away team?
Which away team?
She points at Grimnir. That one.
Just gives a thumbs up.
She nods.
All right. And with that, everyone proceed to the transporter rooms. I'll keep an eye out from up here.
Kara's actually chewing her lip at this moment and says, Captain, something's niggling at me. Permission to conduct one more scan. Very specific one.
Go for it.
Kara goes over to the science station and scans for Farpoint Canadarians.
Interesting. Do an insight science, and Sets is going to be assisting.
1 success. My insight is poor, though my science is good.
Shouldn't the computer also give you a bonus die since you're using the ship?
Oh, that is a good point.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Setsa does not help out here. She is...
Setsa has raised her hand, and nobody has noticed.
Setsa's raised her hand, no one's noticed, and she's continuing to raise her hand instead of helping Kara. So the Reliant, though, will do a sensors science roll, so that's a 12.
Come on, let's go.
Well, we got a success.
A success. You do not detect anything resembling a Farpoint Nidarian in the system.
Kara just nods and says, okay, something was eating at me, something that happened to Jean-Luc Picard back in the day. I don't know, it felt familiar. She heads for the turbo lift.
Graves nods. At that point, Captain Kofak, the Tellarite captain of the USS Toledo, who also appears somewhat like John Cleese, hails the ship, and Graves is sort of in conversation with Kofak as the away team begins assembling in the transporter rooms. Do you want to bring anyone else? So we've got security personnel, additional engineering personnel, and additional science personnel. So Setsa, Nissa,
I want to take Rick Tier with us on the basic one.
He's already been assigned.
Okay, shit. Bryce then.
So yeah. Okay, so
I was about to say, given what we're dealing with here, I want to assign Grawl to the team that's going down to make friends.
Okay, Grawl's going to go be the science officer for the team making friends.
And if Setsa's not doing anything, she could probably come down in science for those of us investigating.
That happens too. So you've got your 2 science officers, and then a good mix of engineering.
Checkers is going with the friend team.
Okay, so he's sort of taking over the engineering.
One of the friend teams.
Okay.
I was about to say, he was invited to shop.
I mean, one of the checkers. Not, fuck it, both of them.
Grimnir and Mary are both just watching all this going, huh?
So, basically, everyone's sort of assigned in their away teams. Grimnir, you have taken on Checkers and Grawl, our little raptor-like anthropologist, xenoanthropologist, who is Arcane Flame's character.
Okay.
Shout out to Arcane Flame.
The little raptor-like officer looks up and around. Ooh, field work. This is a great opportunity to study. I wonder if they have dogs.
We'll see if they have dogs. And the teams are transported down to the surface. Let us begin with the friendship team. So you are beamed down into, well, a particularly nice-looking plaza. I mean, it's a little austere, but at the same time, it does look pretty ornate, and it's a little bit of a lively city atmosphere around you with some pretty notable fields built into sort of the tiered structure with these large growing yellow plants in there. So, looks pretty peaceful. Looks nice. And there's a little bit of a shop atmosphere around too. A few little market stalls here and there. And the team is sort of beamed in near the sort of the first, like the central ornate structure. A little bit of a hubbub as a bunch of Uchagrans just sort of look and point and have humble conversation as the big doors open on the main palace, and out steps the first speaker, flanked by two somewhat brawnier, but not particularly so Uchagrans. They stand about 4 feet tall. The first speaker looks up at Grimnir, who's standing up at the head of the...
Which, by the way, Grimnir has a Type 3 phaser rifle, and he's holding it in, like, the traditional, against his chest, pointed down, but, like, battle ready.
The first speaker approaches Grimnir and says, "Oh, magnificent Outworlders, we greet you in kind and warm feelings, like fresh dew dripping off a springtime plant, tended by a small child with a wonder in his eye. I am first speaker 32, and with that I shall welcome you and provide you with an enormous discount on the various wares here, token of our friendship and of hope that we can put unfortunate events behind us."
Grimnir looks down at him, looks at the away team behind him, looks back at the guy, says, "Ditto." That's the word, right?
Yeah, but you hear the universal translator when you say ditto. The universal translator goes on for a while translating ditto into their language. It takes a bit. So the first speaker eventually nods and says, "Very good, very good. And should there be any cold breezes, do not hesitate to bring them to our attention. Anything at all, we welcome you here." And
Grimnir
he points
perks
to
up. I happen to like cold breezes. Where do I go for that?
The Uchagan brings and says, "In literal fact, well, just about anywhere. It is the cold season now. Pleasant, but still bitter winter. I should say that we have a little monument to Captain Gava in some preparation over by the waterfall. If you wish to pay your respects there, he was very kind officer. I believe he was a Klingon, as was said, and we hold him in the highest regard."
Grimnir slings his rifle on his back, and just kind of throws it back there. He's like, "I think I'm gonna get along here." He slaps the guy on his back, on his shoulder, and he says, "Indeed, show me. I wish to see this."
While all this is going on, by the way, Grawl is just looking around in absolute wonder, his claws tapping away on a pad, taking all kinds of notes.
So, the first speaker leads the away team over to a waterfall structure, and it's small. It's just got a bit of architecture going on, but a small patch of red flowers has been laid at the center of the waterfall, and a few lights have been shining into the water itself as well. And there's also a picture of a, rather old and weathered-looking Klingon in a Starfleet uniform, standing happily with a bunch of Uchagrans. They do appear to have liked him quite a lot, and it's a bit of a shame that he was killed during the attack.
Grimnir tilts his head to the side, looks at his host, and says, "Pray tell, what is the story behind this? I wish to know more."
The story is we felt sad at Captain Gava's passing, and felt we had to do something. We weren't sure of his customs or anything of the sort, but we've done our best to pay respect to him as a honored member of the community. certainly I would have respects no less or no more than, or no less than what we're planning to go. The feast is planned as well for the summer. Once that rolls around, we are patient in our respects as well. But, I mean, do you wish to know the story of Captain Gava?
Indeed, I do, Grimnir says. But did he live here for some time?
No, he lived in the research settlement. You can see yonder. He points towards the city sits at the edge of a vast expanse of snow and deciduous forest, and off in the distance you can see a little bit of smoke and a set of charred buildings. And the first speaker says, not quite with the tear in his eye, he says, Captain Gava, to let the Chagrins scavenge.
Set up a perimeter and then head in and see what we can find.
Bryce nods, effectively setting up a perimeter by just looking around with his phaser at the ready.
Kara just starts immediately getting the old tricorder out and tries to scan some of the scorch marks and see if she can determine anything useful from plasma residue.
All right, let's give that a insight and engineering. Also, so you just dropped out there.
Yes.
How much did you miss?
Fair chunk. We got to the start of the wanting to know more, and then
Oh no. We're gonna have to re-explain what just happened. It was pretty great. All right, so for audience members, we will have to. We had a little bit of a hiccup there. We'll get back and explain what the away team was up to. But right now, we are currently at the ruined Federation base and taking a look around at what is. Oh dear God! We'll get to that roll in just a second. We're just doing the initial scans. So away team there. That fine. Kara has rolled 2 complications. You have not yet earned momentum this game.
I was just my joke is that the bombardment just starts up again and Kara's just vaporized.
No, so Kara, you sort of walk around, and then you hear crunching beneath you, and then you fall down a hole.
Ah!
Wait, hold on a second. When Waitley did his thing, he got a lot of successes. Did that not earn momentum, or was that the successes he needed?
No. Technically, that okay. So, yeah, let's go ahead and I'll give you guys a couple of momentum for that.
So Waitley trying to convince the captain to kill people has given us momentum.
Yes, that has. That's what we have for an Eldritch being as a ship counselor. So anyway, you've got 2 momentum, but I'll say I'm not going to do anything terrible with Kara falling down a hole. She's just fallen down into sort of the basement of one of the Federation research stations.
There's a very faint "ow."
You need some help, Kara?
Falls through a hole. You need some help?
Setzer rushes over to the hole and says,
All right, someone grab my legs. I'll pull Kara back up.
We could just use a rope.
I'm fine.
He says
I'm
exasperatedly.
fine. We're all fine. How are you?
Alright, well, let's see if we can get you out of there. Rick here just sort of looks down the hole and see how bad is it?
jumps down the hole. While Rick is investigating.
I demand a fitness security.
Okay, we're doing a fitness security on that. I'm spending also two of my... I'll go ahead and spend a couple of thread on my own character here. So security is 2, fitness is 10.
Rick,
Setsa just landed on Kara. He's like, ugh!
Rick goes to grab Setsa, but it doesn't get it in time, and
roll to see if you fall now too.
I mean,
I landed on something soft. Don't worry.
There's Kara's voice now. I am significantly less okay.
Setsa just is now hurriedly seeing the car and just profuse with apologies. Rick, what you see down the hole, it doesn't take much, is that you actually see a somewhat intact equipment room. So that's an upside to your investigation. I mean, it looks like you got a little bit of a space there that didn't take too much damage. I mean, still, like, things are still scattered all over the place, partially from evacuation, partially because of things falling over from nearby bombardment. It would have been great to be in there, but I mean, at the very least, it did look like the base wasn't hit especially hard.
Right.
An orbital bombardment could have just left a crater. It didn't, though.
Can I do a structural scan to see if there's any accessible, if we need to go down there, or if there's actually something accessible that we can rejoin them without any, like having to.
Yeah, so you can go ahead and do an engineering insight roll with tricorder, and then as far as anything applying for stuff, let's go ahead. I'm trying to find your character sheet.
I don't think I've got anything that's specifically structural.
No, so no focuses apply.
All right, one success.
All right, one success. You're able to correlate maps or a simple map of the compound that you have. I mean, it's not particularly good, but at least the local researchers had some documentation as they're building the place out. You think there's definitely going to be a way out. It's just a question of, has that been obliterated? But at the same time, you're not. It doesn't look like you're pinned in if you go down that way. But it remains to be seen whether or not there's other damage that would block the passage. The upside, though, is that, I mean, you could definitely get out via transporters. There's nothing blocking you in that way. Like, no fancy radiation at this time.
All right,
There's just plasma.
I will. Well, now we've got maps on the tricorder, so you should be able to work out if you need to get elsewhere. But I mean, we've got transporters. We can call down for transporter enhancers if we need. But I mean, we should be fine with just beaming you up if you need.
All right. So do
Captain
Eli
Graves
and
here's
Rick.
kill them all.
Wait, say again.
Who
Who heard it this time?
Oh, that's just Graves. I mean, he's just doing his thing. But anyway, Eli and Rick, do you jump down the hole too?
Eli taps his comm badge. O'Connor to Reliant.
Reliant here.
Can I get a 20-foot spool of rope?
Sure thing. Anything else?
Nah, that's just it.
Maybe something to like a grappling rod, so the rope can like attach to things.
I was about to
I mean,
say,
we're
isn't there
going
any
down,
rubble
not
or anything heavy around that he could just tie it around?
That's what I was planning on.
Well, like from my picture of like you guys beamed into a relatively open area, so it'd have to be a really freaking long rope to get to.
All right, make it 50 feet.
Yeah,
we'd need something stable for it to tie to. So if we have,
well, that's what Graves was suggesting, like a little grappling dealie that would just like you could just like plonk it down, like it's attached.
Yeah, well,
it's attached, and then
I think both Eli and I were expecting that there would be some remnant of building around that he could just tie the rope around, unless this place has been well and truly completely flattened.
It's like for where I based this on a Foundry map. Kara, there isn't one that's like super really close. Anyway, you have a rope that's long enough to tie to a nearby building. It's just
Okay, I'm going back to the
length
20-foot
has been
rope, but
specified.
I also want one of those comically large 1-ton weights.
A heavy lured.
Rick says, "We'll get you some kind of prod that you can use to anchor the rope."
Well, you're no fun.
It takes us that large. I mean, do you really need the weight?
Still
do it.
Maybe. Could use it as cover if something bad happens.
We've also got cover deployables. Do you need more security down there?
No.
Okay, we'll get you some climbing gear. We'll send out a bunch. So pick and choose what you need.
We're just going down a hole. It's fine.
Graves, that's all right. Graves out. And you just get like a
Graves.
ridiculously like well stocked set of climbing and rappelling gear like beam down to your location.
At the end of the conversation, before Graves ends it, he hears in his head,
I'll do some hand waving magic. Grimnir tries to do that, but he actually doesn't get through to Graves that time.
That's not Grimnir.
Oh, or
Wait.
Waitley is the one doing
Oh,
that.
sorry. Yeah, so Waitley's the one doing it. For the sake of not driving Graves insane this episode, we can still like riff on this later. But I think he's gotten a sufficient number of creepy messages in his head.
Okay.
So, anyway, we shoot back over to the social team. So to fill people back in on what happened in between where we got cut off and then we're resuming. So I assume that at some point in the conversation between the first speaker and Grimnir, that things got cut off. So the conversation at that point turned towards Captain Garva, the Klingon captain who was in charge of the research base, and him being a very good neighbor for the Uchagrans. As it was a bit of snowing, Grimnir tried to show off by using the Clear Skies shout from Skyrim, given where Grimnir is ultimately from. However, it did not work. It did impress, however, the Uchagrans, and everyone began shouting,
I posted it in chat. It's
Lokvakor. Everyone started shouting Lokvakor, and in turn, like inadvertently, gave Garva a really good Klingon burial custom of shouting that the honored dead, that a warrior is approaching.
And it probably gave Mary a very good chuckle.
So, we cut back to the team. So you've seen the memorial to Captain Garva, and
which
first speaker
Grimnir respects. Like when Grimnir is brought to the memorial, he says, "I must pay my respects," and he kneels and like he's got his phaser rifle, but he also still has his sword and shield. And he kneels down and he lays his sword and his shield before the memorial, and he does a prayer to Kinnereth and says, "By Kine, let this soul rest in Stovakor. The Klingons call it thus, but it is the same as what I know." And my brain is breaking right now. It's God damn it. It's not Stovakor, it's not Valhalla, it's
Sovngarde.
Thank you! It is the same as Sovngarde, and I hope to see him there one day, so that I can challenge him. And Grimnir does his very respectful prayer and respect, and then he grabs his shield and his sword, and he stands up and he looks at the first speaker and he says, "So, what was it you needed us to do again?"
The first speaker smiles and says, "We need not but to continue our productive exchange." And he sort of like smiles and gestures towards the shop stalls.
Mary scowls and shakes her head at Grimnir. Doesn't say anything. Grimnir says, "Ready? We're here to defend some shop stalls? I thought we were here to do more than that."
We are here to, well, I would say, hopefully continue and put minds at rest about the unfortunate business that happened. I mean, our settlement is relatively self-sufficient, and we need not worry about too much here, but, well, continued Federation support would be most grand. The mission brief is also to figure out, like, if there was anything amiss. So, first speaker is not really going to tell you anything.
Gotcha.
Talking to locals in and around the stalls, they might provide you with additional information. So he's pushing over to the stalls. It may not be savory. Like, it's like, okay, they don't really need us here. They're not really under any attack.
Yeah, Grimnir is very much leading into the "I can't believe this is what we're here to do" kind of mentality.
Yeah. But they're just sort of like, the one clear thing is that they're not under attack. They don't see what happened as a threat to them. So,
okay.
So basically what you need to do now is see if anyone else in the area knows anything.
So after this, the first speaker leads Grimnir and the party over to the market area, and Grimnir puts on the show of kind of not being disgusted, but just like disappointed that this is what he's been assigned to do. After the first speaker leaves, he looks at Mary, and who else is with him? Is Mary and Chorog and
Grawl and Daniel. So it's Chorog, Daniel, and Grawl is the rest of your away team.
So I don't know. Oh, and Checkers. Okay. So I don't know Grawl or Daniel, but I do know Chorog and Checkers. So Grimnir points at Checkers and Chorog and says, "All right, we have a job to do. We're supposed to find out what actually happened here. You two are two of the most social motherfuckers I know. I need you to go out and talk to these people and find out what actually happened. Can you do that?"
The Grawl is leaning into this scene as well.
Mary looks at Grawl and says, "I don't remember you being invited."
Grawl looks very unhappy. Aww.
Cute. So yeah, you've been given that directive.
You can count on me, sir.
Don't call me sir. I work for a living. Now go do your thing.
You got it.
Grimnir nods, looks at Mary and says, "And you? You do what you do." Mary just smiles and says, "What do I do, sir?" Grimnir just scowls. You two. Grimnir looks at Grawl and Daniel. Watch my back. I'm about to go piss some people off. So let's see what happens with Chorog and Checkers before Grimnir goes piss people off.
I will also, as DM here, I will also have Grawl and Daniel also accompany them as well.
Oh, you missed what I just said. Grimnir told Grawl and Daniel to watch his back because he's about to go piss some people off.
Oh, okay.
I would also like to point out that you have just assigned the two least combat-capable people in this entire ground force to watch your back.
I mean
Grimnir doesn't know.
Yeah, so, Grawl looks like a little raptor, so...
But also, Grimnir is very confident in himself, so he doesn't really care.
Checkers has
I will
Smosin.
say, the Ucharans are...
He is a little concerned about the fact his clear sky shout didn't work, so he's like, okay, I can't rely on that. We're gonna find out what else I can't rely on.
I just siphoned a point off of fitness today.
Okay, so before we take a break, let's go to Chorog and Checkers checking out the market.
Yep.
What do you think, Checker? I think we ought to maybe hit up the seediest bar we can find who's loose enough to talk in there.
See, you're thinking about this all wrong, and that's something I'm going to tell you. What we need to do is establish a business connection. Number one, we'll have a business connection. Number two, we can leverage that business connection to find out the truth. Tell them we don't want to worry about any liabilities.
Which merchant do you think we ought to hit up first?
Who looks the most desperate for money? That actually has stock.
I'd say junk salesman.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, aside from Grimnir.
Trog looks around. He sees a small booth in a corner of the marketplace with a very shady-looking customer behind the counter. That's who we talk to first.
Exactly. Then we go to the bar.
Yes. Business before pleasure.
You look to the market stall, although for Chogrins, I mean, like a kitten's idea of seedy or like little teddy bear people. They don't really have the dynamic range that you would expect out of other humanoid species. So you find a junk store. I mean, it looks like it's pretty haphazard, but at the same time, it's not like you've got weapons or anything else like that just hanging around, giving off a vibe of any kind of menace or major ill repute. The other Uchagrans might not look kindly at this particular stall, but at the same time, it's not blowing your socks off.
And this is a Klingon base that blew up, right?
No, or you are in a settlement that is entirely from Uchagrans, and there was a nearby Starfleet base with a Klingon Starfleet officer.
Gotcha.
So you approach the stall. Customer scampers away, and the Uchagran behind the counter looks up to you and says, greetings. Always appreciate the large outworlders. They come with so many interesting things.
Indeed. What do you got?
Well, what would you say? Some Flemeth spice. It is something that some outworlders have tried. You have come away with an unmemorable experience. It is quite potent.
We're looking for something a little more exotic. Say, do you have any kind of junk plating, armor plating, or deck plating?
Oh, we have some plating here. We have some plating indeed. Some of this was pulled from a tractor. Some of this was pulled from an old sill that exploded. Oh, old Dort. He tried to cultivate the god's nectar one too many times.
The god's nectar?
I was about to say, you can smell the alcohol on the plating.
Yes, it is very alcoholic. The Uchagran has a sort of a slight sneer and says, "Oh, it's able to pull a few things off the Starfleet base."
Ooh, let's see this.
Starfleet base, you say?
He presents a bits of scrap metal, just like stuff he's just like ripped off, cabling, particular junk, and a tricorder.
Is it the latest model tricorder?
Let me see that.
With the purple stripe?
It does not have a purple stripe.
Let me see that
worthless.
tricorder.
So the Uchagrun says, yes, well, don't think you've got any specs with you for, currency. So what can you trade in return for this?
Well, you mentioned the god's nectar. We have some of the god's nectar.
Mary on the other side is just chuckling to herself.
Much of the god's nectar, an entire keg. We'll take your entire shop for it.
Fortunately, the god's nectar is brewed once every 100 years or so. Fortunately, none survived the explosion for old Dort.
I beg to differ. You're gonna want to try this. Hold on. I'll be right back. Checkers goes over to find Grimnir.
All right. So
Grimnir.
Grimnir has made his way into the bar, because you did say there was a bar, right?
Yeah, let's see. Someone said find a bar. I haven't introduced a bar yet.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Well, Grimnir is looking for a bar or something similar to a bar, like something that fits that idea.
The best you could find is what appears to be like a fountain with a bunch of drinks over by a small garden area.
And there's a
more
bunch
like
of people
cafe
there?
than a bar.
Okay,
There's a few
same
chocolates
concept.
there.
All right.
Yeah. But,
So Grimnir, go ahead with the butt.
Are you doing this before Checkers comes over to you?
Yes. I'm assuming this is what's going on while they're doing what they're doing, and then Checkers is going to walk up while Grimnir's doing this.
Okay. So you approach what appears to be a small, pleasant cafe.
All right. So Grimnir walks up, and he looks around and says, "Oi, anybody know anything about the fight that happened a while back?"
And a small Jogrin says, "Is that the one where old Sticky kicked Mickle in the place? He scuffled for quite some time after."
He looks at Mary. Is that the fight? Mary just kind of smiles and says, I think you already eat. Grimnir nods and says, "Aye, it is." He sits down and says, "Tell me more."
Oh,
Mary just
he
shakes her
kicked
head.
the you-know-whats. And, he didn't like it, so they scuffled in the streets. Knocked over quite a few barrels of, seed and grain. Cost quite a lot, and the first speaker had a great talking to them.
Ah, so the first speaker has a lot of power, you say?
He is the first speaker. He stands over all, and decides for the settlement. I mean, not quite a springtime branch looming over pleasant glade, providing treasured sunlight, or treasured shade, but at the same time, we have nothing to complain about. Sticky was dealt with, quite fairly under the circumstances.
You say you have nothing to complain about. Don't believe you. Tell me more.
It's quite cold in the winter.
Like the cold. Where I come from, it's very cold.
Yes, but, well, information isn't what it was since we've quarreled with the neighboring settlements.
Those settlements have made it warmer?
Settlements who make better insulation.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. Mary's just like, this is not where we need to be talking. Grimner's just like, shush.
I
Tell
find
me
where the
more.
place is.
And this is where Checkers would walk in.
Okay, also, just before Checkers walks in, do we want to take a quick 10-minute break before getting on to the last bit of the episode?
Yes,
Please,
yes,
gods, yes.
Yes. Sorry to go on a little bit longer. Okay, so we are back, and Grimnir has been approached by Checkers.
So Grimnir is talking to this guy, and he's trying to milk him for information, and he's being duped, thinking there's actually good information to get from this guy. And Checkers walks up to him, and he stops, and he looks at him and says, "Hey."
I need to requisition something from you.
Grimnir scowls. What do you need to requisition?
One of your barrels of mead.
Those are back up on the ship. I didn't bring them with me.
Well, I know that, but I just want your permission. I'm not going to steal them. Yet.
He blinks. I'm slightly concerned, but I'm curious to see what you're going to do with it. Computer, bring me one of my barrels of mead.
One of you, as that is being, as a barrel of meat is being beamed down, one of you Chagrins, one of the little ones, hands a mug of cocoa to Grimnir. It's interpreting the request.
Oh, this looks tasty. He takes a swig.
It's very sweet and tasty, like drinking candy mixed with cake.
You should taste some mead if you like this.
Little one is a child.
Slams the mug down. Mary just shakes her head. Grimnir grabs one of the bottles of mead off his belt, hands it to the kid.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, I'm just dying with the idea that Grimnir has tactical mead.
Oh, he does.
Contributing to the delinquency of an alien miner.
Armor. He literally has bottles of mead on his belt.
Hey, some people carry grenades. Grimnir carries mead.
Makes a good Molotov cocktail if you got the time.
So the child Uchagrin just scampers off happily over to their parent, who takes mead and just waves at Grimnir.
Grimnir waves back. All right, what were you saying? Here's your barrel.
Yep, thank you. Checkers lifts up the barrel and leaves.
So Checkers returns over to the shop stall.
Do me a favor, Ensign Shepard, and watch him. Mary just nods and follows Checkers.
Checkers going back to the booth.
So you're at the booth with a barrel.
Checkers puts down the barrel. As promised, right here. Nectar of Gods.
And that's the good stuff, too.
I was going to say, it's Grimnir's mead. It's good.
Is this truly the nectar of the gods?
Taste it.
Taste it. Strong. That's not nectar. Nectar's sweet and filled with caramelish things, is the translator tries to pick up.
Are you implying this isn't?
It's, well, good. I'll certainly happily take it and trade. It's just not quite the nectar.
All right, let me sweeten the deal a little bit here.
Just so you know, mead is sweet.
Like, he was accepting, he sort of, like, the Uchagrin just sort of blinks at Chorok as he says that, because he's like, I was going to accept the deal.
We're insulted that he thinks it's not of the gods.
So it's like, I'll take more stuff.
Trog takes a flagon of venom off his belt. There. I'll add this onto the deal as well. You drink that in combination with this, you are gonna see things that you've never seen before.
You're gonna see God.
I'll try that later. But for now, I certainly think you've warranted a trade of this material here. He hurriedly bundles up the Federation stuff, including the tricorder, and hands it over to Checkers.
Thank you, Checker says, taking the bundle. I'll also take some of that spice.
There's a slide nod from the shopkeeper and says, "Yes, distinguished taste."
400 pounds, please.
He blinks. He's like, "I've got 12 at most."
I'm dying.
Suppose I could put that into little baggies and sell it. That works.
The trade is done. Do they look for any other contraband?
Trog needs some odd-looking weapon parts. I'll take some of those weapon parts.
Actually, specifically, you don't find weapon parts. It's not part of their culture to actually have those.
Yeah, he did say that before.
Power cells, then.
They don't have good power cells. What you find are some trinkets, like little ornamented baubles, and some strange literature.
I'll take some of that strange literature. Let me see. I might be able to read it in my spare time.
Yeah, so you have a collection of strange alien literature. It's most strange. Very strange.
Trog can sense the confusion on Checker's face, and
Checkers is confused. He's just accepting.
I might be able to decipher whatever this is, and there might be information that could help us here.
No, that's instructions for an air hockey table.
Okay. All right. Do you want to do a roll on this strange literature? See if it contains any relevant information to your mission.
Sure.
Okay, you're going to do a command insight roll, and I'm going to spend most of my remaining thread. I'm going to spend 3 threads. Your complication range is 17. Complication. You think it's in code. Like there might be something here, but it's just strange and indecipherable. Start noticing though that some of the pictures start to appear sensual in nature.
Told you, air hockey table.
Trog goes over there and just rolls his eyes as he realizes what he picked up.
Okay,
Great.
So,
I got an alien playboy.
Air hockey. Do you not see the table?
This is from a Nausicaan. I'm now scared what Nausicaan Playboy is.
They're not
all right.
Checkers, they're not playing hockey on that table.
Of course they're not playing hockey. They're playing air hockey. There's a difference.
That's not air hockey either.
Oh, you're right. I see it. They're playing pool together. 2 players
Okay.
pool.
That's
Before
not
we get
pool
back,
game.
so we
He
can
just
finish
shakes
this off
her
tonight.
head, looks at Daniel, and what's the other guy's name? Grawl?
Grawl, but they're over by the cafe. If you haven't moved, or the team hasn't moved over.
Yeah,
to follow
they're with
there.
Grimnir.
Yeah, they're with Grimnir, and Mary looks at them and says, "Boys, we want to go do something actually useful."
Yeah, okay.
Mary just nods, looks at Grimnir, gives him the look. He looks back at her with kind of a confuzzled look and just kind of does the shrug that he does when he's like, "Do whatever you do." She says, "All right, come with me, boys. I got an idea."
Rawl happily hops along behind her, feeling useful.
Please, she walks up to the first person she sees in the market and says, "Greetings. I am a representative of Starfleet, and I would like to know more about the incident that happened."
Is this the one where? Sorry. George just posted something in chat of just someone
I
leaning
see
over
it.
the table.
I see
Someone
it.
leaning over for a snooker shot. It's just a weird angle. But anyway. Okay. The alien says, "Is that the one where Stinky got kicked in the you-know-whats?"
Negative. I am referring to the one where one of our people was killed.
Oh, yes, that. Sorry.
That incident.
What do you wish to know?
I wish to know everything there is to know. Do you have anything to tell me that is not in the records?
I have not seen the record, so I would not be able to say. They look quite nervous.
She gives him that very stern, domineering look that Mary gets when she's about to go full god mode. I wish you to tell me everything.
And with that, let's cut back over to the team exploring the research base.
Okay, with all the rope and the stuff that got sent down, Rick here is gonna actually try and get a rope secured tie it off, and then get it down there to let people climb up.
So you're climbing back up rather than exploring the room that's relatively intact below you.
I was going to go into the room.
Well, I'm getting it set up so two-way traversal is available.
Okay, so two-way traversal is available, but you did find a pretty decent entrance to the facility.
Yep.
So, got that. So, yeah, so you've got
At this
that
point, Kara
access.
has stood up and has started trying to look around the room.
Eli heads down, using the rope.
Setsa is trying to tend to Kara's boo-boos.
Kara's like, I'm fine.
So the room itself, again, is a sort of a equipment room. So it has a bunch of survey gear, scientific gear, survival gear, and some light weaponry. So nothing out of the place from just any regular equipment place that you've been to in Starfleet.
Kara does mark a lot of stuff as weaponry as stuff that needs to be, contained and brought back.
So you do make those notes and make those tags, and you've got that equipment tagged for transport once you're done.
Rick wants to try and do another weapons analysis.
All right, so you've got a insight engineering roll. Actually, insight science on this one, let's say.
Science? Okay. Can it be engineering?
No, science.
Okay, this is
I feel
gonna
like
be
he
very...
just wants us to have terrible rolls.
I want you to succeed at daunting rolls.
Let me double check my science. It's actually pretty low.
I was going to say, the problem is when you make the rules daunting, we're less likely to succeed.
I know. I know the answers to this possible question, so I don't think... Okay. So you got to see one. So for one success, you're able to identify that, yes, plasma damage did damage these buildings. Do note, though, that it was a focused plasma attack. It wasn't just shoot a giant death ball and obliterate everything. These were targeted strikes, not to any particular location, more or less. It was just like, let's rough up the base.
So Rick just sort of looks at his readings at the moment. He sort of ponders, precise, aimed, and yet not. It's not sort of like it's not a precision strike to take out something. It's just a disruption kind of sort of situation.
Kara looks over, so basically like an artillery strike or a saturation bomb.
It seemed whoever did it wanted them more out of the way than more distracted than actually wanting to kill them.
Well, if they only wanted them distracted, they definitely did too much.
So, you've got a few doorways leading out of this equipment room.
Rick T is also down. I don't think I said that he climbed down.
Yeah, so, did you order Bryce to come down with you? Or is he still holding the perimeter up top?
Have him hold the perimeter.
Okay. So he is still on the perimeter up top. You are in the base. You have a map of the base, and you can try to navigate to obvious points the base might have, like its operations room, sensor room, generators.
To the sensor room.
Go to the sensor room.
The sensors.
The sensor room. So,
the sensors.
On your way, you do find a bit of rubble that's sort of rubble and miscellaneous metal girders, or not girders, but miscellaneous metal debris that bars your way for easy passage. There is a small hole where a smaller officer would be able to squeeze through, but you could also try to clear it or find some other way of circumventing the problem.
I wonder to do a scan, see if we could get any power readings. Is there any power in this place?
There's going to be faint lights, but they're like emergency lines that have their own automated system. The main grid seems down. You get a little bit of faint white light, on strips in the hall. So you can see. You don't need to use your flashlights too much, but it's not. The base is offline.
I mean, I could try and clear this pathway.
I was going to ask who we have that's small enough to fit in there. I think the two smallest people are Kara and Setsun. I think Kara beats her out.
How tall are they?
Kara's
small.
just over 5 feet.
Yeah, Setsa is just about 6 foot, but slim.
Oh god, Eli's shorter than Setsa.
Mary
Okay,
is
so-
5'2" and about 90 pounds.
She's also
She
with
is
the other
very-
group.
Yeah, she's also with the other group.
That's
So,
true. Yes.
Eli is 5'11".
okay, so either you can send Eli or Kara through.
You've already been injured. I'll do it.
I know.
Eli's taken point.
Okay, so for your crawling roll, fitness security,
Just a second.
and you have 2 momentum.
Because of Waitley.
2 successes. You slip right on through to the other side. You have now
Alright.
cleared the rubble for yourself. So the one thing you can see though is you can get a little bit more insight into how to make a bigger path from your side. So you don't necessarily need to blast through the whole thing. You just need to move this and this around, and the hole's now large enough for everyone to get through, and it looks secure enough that you don't have to worry about any structural integrity.
Let's do that.
Okay, so you are able from this side to clear the hole to make it bigger, so everyone's able to wriggle their way through.
One at a time. No
Kara comes
pushing.
through after Setsa.
Rick will bring up the three.
All right. So everyone sees what they see as they're passing through, and you're now on the other side of the rubble, and you've got a clear path to the sensor suite or the base.
Kara nods. Rick, do you think you could go take the storage module out of that? Rather than try to restore power to a delicate system, I think it might be better to just grab the data and bring it back to the ship.
Well, we should be able to take the data systems apart.
So you approach the sensor room. So it's a this standard small room filled with a bunch of computer banks. And I'll have everyone do an insight security check.
Okay, I finally got 2 successes, but seriously, stop calling me for insight.
Kara's good at the insight.
No, she's not.
She mathematically isn't, but practically is. I just gotta do a roll for sense here. So, also, when I said everyone, it's everyone in this scene.
Yeah, I was gonna do a roll for Waitley, but I don't think he's actually paying attention to them at the moment.
No, I mean he's got galactic, things to think about. Sands of conquest. So Kara and Setsa see the thing. There's a bunch of damaged consoles just because explosions nearby, consoles explode. Bits of
Fuses haven't been
falling.
invented. This is Star Trek.
Yes. You do notice though that on one of the consoles, in the computer, you got this metal fragment just sort of jammed in there. Eli notices it, okay, that's a little bit weird for something just it's a very energetic exploding console. Leave that there. But Kara and Setsa see that it's the tip of a bat.
Kara goes over and points at it. Okay, it looks like there was a fight here. There's part of a batleth buried in this console.
Wait,
I don't think the
batleth?
captain went down without a fight.
They transported in here, didn't they?
I don't know. I didn't get anything from the scans, and then someone fell on me.
Well, if there's a batleth and a console, I'm assuming that, they got in here somehow.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Unless somehow they're
So,
trying to
you can
destroy
now-
the sensor console, which doesn't really make sense.
Did we recover a body?
I don't think they tried to. I don't think it was intentionally attacking the console. I think the captain was probably swinging his batleth at an attacker and missed.
Did they recover a body?
I will say, yes, they recovered the body, but basically they beamed Garva out, and then he basically immediately died. So, injuries of just various... they thought he had been, caught by an explosion.
I'm gonna take out my pad and look at the autopsy report.
Okay, as you do that, Rick, you notice that the sensor data unit has already been removed.
Someone already beat us here. The data module that stores the logs, sensor logs, is gone.
Okay, somebody definitely didn't want us to know what happened here.
There's a thump somewhere down the hallway.
Kara just pulls her pistol out and aims it at the way into the sensor room.
It's still quiet. Setsu just sort of looks around nervously.
Eli brings a finger up to his mouth to, shush them silently.
There's another slight thump.
It's getting
It
closer.
sounds like it sounds like it's in the exact same place.
Kara just gestures to him like, what now?
I'm going to go sneak towards it. What do I roll?
Okay. Control security.
And Rick's gonna stealth that over there as well.
Oh boy! I'm how much momentum do we have?
No used any, right?
No, you've got 2 momentum, so you can reroll if so you can reroll if necessary.
I'm gonna reroll that 19.
Okay. You did not have any threat though. I didn't spend any threat on that.
I'm gonna still reroll it, and just 1 die, so better.
All right. So you're both able to sort of sneak over and kind of like you sort of notice that there looks like a shadow, something standing against one of the lights. So you can kind of you don't see what it is yet, but you see that there's something standing like around a corner in the hallway.
Rick will look over to Dr. Eli to see what he.
He gestures to keep sneaking forward.
And
So do you round the corner?
Not round it, but peek it. Just gonna peek it, little peek.
Okay. Peek the corner, and then you see this.
Okay,
You see a purple. You see a purple automata standing rigidly, facing the other direction in the hallway.
Eli's gonna stop peeking his head around the corner and look to Rick Tier and just shake his head, very panicked.
Rick doesn't have any idea what this thing is.
So, as the two try to, like, communicate, like, what do we do, turns. Thump, thump, thump. And looks at where, I assume, by turning, Eli would have pulled back, but it looks at where they were and starts to round the corner.
Tactical retreat? I mean,
Eli
this is not in voice,
Eli waves for Rick Tier to go back as he kicks out the blades in his shoes and gets ready to kick it.
Rick will get out his
the corner.
His phaser.
Okay, so as it rounds the corner, you're going to try to kick it in a sensitive area to try
with the knife shoes.
It doesn't have a sensitive area.
Probably head. So I mean, this is just the construct of this particular faction. So yeah, so you're able. So you got the blade, and you're going to try to go for a kick. So it's a a daring security roll with a complication range of 17.
Watch me fail now. Let's go.
I mean, you just decapitate. Okay, let's keep it this way because this will be a good way of ending the scene or ending the episode for this part 1. So you go for the kick, and you're sort of like you're just short, so you just basically kick in front of its face, and you don't actually hit it with the knife, and you're just sort of standing there with this construct looking like not just looking at you. It sort of holds out a hand, and there's sort of like a little bit of a charge to it. And as that happens, a bluish green beam just basically slices directly through this thing's head, and it falls over.
I think I got it. He's so sarcastic.
That is the most self-delusional thing I think I've ever heard someone say.
I added, he says sarcastically.
Sarcastically. And as you say that, a figure standing on the other side of the hall lowers their weapon. And you sort of see you can see in the dim light that the face has tattoos. A certain pattern of like V-shaped ridge on their forehead. It's a Romulan male with glowing green eyes, and he just sighs. And that's where we're ending the episode. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight on part 1 of Entropy Redux. This is a retelling of one of my Foundry missions with a little bit of tweaks here and there. So, again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me tonight. Our cast and crew here at Starship Reliant really appreciate you tuning in for us this week, and we'll try to be back with the conclusion to this episode in 2 weeks here. If you have anything to send to us, our email is reliant@starbasectc.com, or you can poke any one of us on Twitter around the Star Trek community. So with that, again, thanks for tuning in to us tonight, and we'll see what happens next in a couple of weeks' time. Say good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
And
Good
especially
morning.
you, Rick. I don't know, is there somebody named Rick? Not Rick Tier Rick, just like a random guy watching.
Yeah. We like you, Rick.
We see you. Tim.
This episode's dedicated to you, Steve.